Hello, welcome back for Unit 3 in our American History 1 course here at Waldorf University Online. And this week we're getting into the Revolution. As we're talking about a revolution, we've got a couple of things to get done this week. Again, we've got our discussion board. It's going to be due, and this is going to give us a chance to take a look at the Declaration of Independence a little bit more closely. It's divided into 5 parts, which you're going to see listed there in the prompt for the discussion board. And what I want you to do is take a look at the grievances against England and King George III, and then talk about which grievance is the most important and what event took place between 1764 and 1776 that aligns with that grievance. So you're going to have to pair some of the stuff from the text with the actual document for the kind of Declaration of Independence and talk about what was the most important thing the colonists were mad about as they decided to move from, how many historians will talk about this, is from resistance to revolution. So it's one thing to want to resist and change your government. I think we all want to do that in some way. Some of us resist more than others things that are happening at any given moment in the political system. It's a whole nother thing to want to kind of foment revolution and create something new. And so that's kind of what we want to be paying attention to over on the discussion board there. Additionally, you're supposed to talk about in the preamble, the Founding Fathers declare numerous self-evident truths. I want you to kind of consider out of those which is the most important. As you're kind of considering your responses for the second part, I want you to kind of use empathy a little bit. Place yourself in 1776 in the present day. And is there a difference between the self-evident truth that you have kind of selected between then and now? One of the things to think about with the founders is the world they were living in is very different than the one we live in today. I always think it'd be interesting to plop Thomas Jefferson into 2025 and ask him what he thinks about online learning. Probably break his brain. I want you to be kind of talking about how these self-evident truths have changed over time. Let's have a good, thoughtful, respectful discussion over there. Bring in some evidence if you need to. Make sure you fully develop the things you're trying to talk about and get that first post in by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. Then that follow-up post by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. as well. The other thing you got to do this week is a little bit different. It's our Unit 3 assignment. This is a little bit of a creative exercise. We're going to use some facts from this time period as well. So this is called the Letter to a Family Member assignment. You're going to talk about how it's 1776 and the news of the Declaration of Independence has swept through the colonies, and you're just learning of this historical event. You're going to take pen to paper to write to a family member, reflect about what this means. So there's a few things that it says you want to make sure to discuss. So you need some details for maybe your character here that's kind of writing from this time period. So where do you live in colonial America? Maybe you live in Boston. Maybe you live in Georgia. I don't know where you live. You get to decide, and that should influence maybe your letter a little bit. Are you a patriot or a loyalist? I can tell you I've been teaching this class online for 12 years, and no one's ever taken a loyalist perspective here, despite over half the people in the colonies having that perspective during this time period. If you really want to impress me, which really doesn't matter, write from that perspective and do something a little bit different. I know many of you write as patriots. That's totally fine too. Want you to, in that letter, share with your family member at least one social, political, or economic event that you believe led the Continental Congress to write the Declaration of Independence. So this could tie into what you're already talking about over on the discussion board. You can pick something else. That's really up to you. And then why did this event lead to the writing of the Declaration of Independence? Then there's 2 more things for you to consider. So do you believe that the Declaration of Independence was the correct course of action for the Continental Congress to take? Why or why not? This is where if you were going to take a more loyalist perspective, you still might want change within that system, like I was talking about. Many of us resist political systems as they exist. That's part of a democratic process. But don't call for outright revolution. And maybe that's more your perspective. If you are a moderate political person now, you would not have probably, I hate to tell you, been a patriot during the American Revolution. You'd be way more likely to maintain the status quo and then be considered a loyalist from the modern perspective. And so maybe you could even say well, I think we need to change a lot of things, but the Declaration of Independence wasn't the right course of action. Now, again, approach this however you want, but I'm trying to give you some things to think about. I had my niece who's in middle school do this assignment one time, and she wrote a very similar letter to the ones that I get to read. So please do better than that. I don't know, bring some research in, develop your points, have an interesting take. You're in college, do something cool. And then the last thing you're supposed to consider is what actions will you take as America and Great Britain go to war. So a few things about formatting. Since you're the author of the letter and shaping your perspectives and experience as a first-person narrative, you got to write in that first-person style, which means like using I, we, our, Your letter needs to be at least 2 pages in length, double-spaced, written Times New Roman 12 APA style, is not necessarily required for this assignment. Even though it's not required, if you're going to use resources, you still need to cite them, and you need to bring information in to kind of develop your letter. So don't copy material directly from your sources for this letter. Make certain to paraphrase the information, write it in your own words. I hate that. But make sure that you're bringing in some quality information to underwrite the analysis you're creating. Use your sources for historical facts, but then write in your own words. And then there's some stuff about ways to get this started, ways to think about the content, final important notes like contacting the Writing Center. Do your best. If you also got questions, you can reach out to me. I'll be happy to tell you what I think as you work on this. I appreciate the hard work you put into the course so far, and I look forward to the good things you're going to do this week. Good luck.